How do you do, buckaroos? How the heck are you? I tried to get this one on time. I was still about 2 minutes late. It always takes just a little bit longer. I think it's good. Oh, let's see here. Let me check something real fast. So I worked today. I had the weekend off. I worked today, but then I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for Thanksgiving. So I got the next 3 off, but then I'm back on Friday and Saturday, which is great because I love working Fridays and Saturdays. Uh, yeah, that got me where I wanted to be there. No, I'm not really into this Christmas pub here, but I try to make it look as realistic as humanly possible. Anyways, I think we're going now. Let me check this here. There we go. And now we're in business, man. How the heck are I am Tom the Beer and Whiskey Whisperer for the purposes of this one. Oh, Mercy, I can relax, just wasn't a bad day, just kind of steady all day. Not real busy, not slow until near the end. I'm going to pop a beer for you, and I'm going to have some whiskey. Uh, Dug this one out. This is Materfamilias Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. It's at 11%. This is the 2020 vintage, and I'm going to show that to you so you can see that. One sip of Materfamilia shows you why this barrel aged stout is the hit of Mother's household. It requires the undivided attention. Mercy. The undivided attention of our brewery over the course of a year. Our Imperial Stout delivers intense roasted malt flavor of chocolate and dried fruit, careful aging in bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum barrels. Bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum for this one. All right, so let's open it. I sometimes like to open, take a picture, so now I'm going to open this one right in front of you using my mother's glass. I got in 21. So I didn't go last year, 23. Did 21 and 22, but they didn't give out the glass in 22. That's why I don't know if they did it in 23, but I already decided I wasn't going to because I was so disappointed that they didn't give me another glass. First one, there's a little pomp and circumstance going on. Um, Real friendly, brought us back there. You got the stuff. Got one free pour in the glass, and they didn't do any of that the second time, and I was a little put out by that. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to drink with you. This one, I've been drinking all my new stuff since I got back from vacation into September, into early October. Been popping all my new stuff. Kind of forgot about something I've had laying around here, and I really need to finish this stuff up. This is Union Horse Distilling American Single Malt Whiskey. It is at 96 proof. And I know you've heard me say it before. I love the American single malt category because it just covers a lot of ground. I'm going to give myself a nice pour there. Try not to spill, but my hands don't always want to cooperate with me. All right, let me show you this bottle here. And now I'm going to read a little bit from it. Rivalist American Single Malt Whiskey is a small batch, artisanal whiskey made from 100% malted barley by Union Horse Distilling, handcrafted from start to finish using the finest Midwest barley in our copper pot still, then aged to perfection in new oak barrels. Beautifully complex and elegantly simple. Rivalist combines tender notes of caramel, orange peel, and baking spice. Caramel, orange peel, and baking spice. I haven't had this one for a while, but I remember pulling some chocolate, so we'll see. Tender notes of caramel, orange peel, and baking spice with a long, lasting, succulent finish. Sit back, pour a glass, and give a toast to perfection. Yeah, I really am going to set that up here. Really like this one. It's one of the first, it might have been the first of the category that I had. It's about a 3 ounce pour there. Oh, yeah. Let's see, let me read that again there. Tender notes of caramel, orange peel, and baking spice. I'm going to put a finer point on the caramel. I'm going to say dark caramel because it feels like a burnt sugar, almost a burnt sugar caramel, if you know what I'm talking about. Hey, if you happen to be watching, any questions or comments, please put it up on the screen. We can have a conversation. Oh, orange peel. Sure, I can go with that. Baking spice. I assume when they say baking spice, they're talking about what? Uh, Nutmeg, clove, probably cinnamon and or allspice, possibly ginger. So yes, it's not going to be unusual to get if you got have a mix of that stuff going on. But I mentioned I felt like I was pulling some chocolate when I've had this before, and I do. I'm going to say like a very dark malted chocolate. Oh, good God, that is lovely. That's lovely. Why'd you say lovely, Tom? I don't know. That adjective just popped out. I'm not sure why I said that. It just came out, man. Use my mother's glass here. Letting this warm up a little. No, it's 2020 vintage. Oh my gosh. So we're about 4 years old on this one. Hey, Gabriel, how are you? I'm going to post a comment. If you want to talk about what you're drinking, go for it. We're going to kick back and relax for this video. We're not going to get in a hurry. This isn't a beer you want to drink fast, nor is that whiskey. So we're going to relax. I might talk about a lot of things. I'm going to talk about the beer. I'm going to talk about the whiskey. We might talk about Thanksgiving. Who knows? And if y'all want to bring up a topic, by golly, trying to get myself in that holiday mood. It's been kind of rough. I've been trying to force myself into like watching some Christmas stuff. To try to get in the spirit. Sometimes it's tough. I don't even know what all I'm fixing for Thanksgiving. If you want to know the truth, you enjoy your alcohol of the day every day. uh, Gosh, that's nice. Yeah, I don't even know what all I'm going to fix for Thanksgiving. To be honest with you, I know we're doing a bird. I got that thawing as we speak. I'm trying to decide bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum. I'm trying to decide which barrel is more dominant on this particular vintage. When I had the 2019 about a week ago or so, I was feeling more of that brandy and rum barrel. But here on this 2020, I'm feeling more of the bourbon and rye. And it might be the aging process, right? Those, the rum and brandy may end up dominant. That I don't know, but for right now, I'm really feeling those bourbon notes. Oh, excuse me while I try to adjust myself here. Oh, man, man, that is delicious. So, you might get some dark chocolate, some dark and or dried fruit. It wouldn't be unusual if you were to pick out some date and or fig. Personally, I'm getting some very dark cherry notes, almost like a candy, like a fruitcake like note. Some very dark malted chocolate gets a little sweet initially, but once you round that middle, those barrel notes come into play. You're every barrel is gonna add just a little bit of vanilla that kind of tames everything a little bit. And you get just a hint of spice, but you feel that nice oak just cleaning everything up. Holy Moses, that is delicious. I'm going to set that down for a second, focus on this whiskey for a minute. I love that color. When I hold it up in this light, I get a bit of a ruby hue. Keeping in mind that I'm about half colorblind. Stouts are such a lovely beer style coffee chocolate stout. So good. Yeah, this one isn't a coffee stout, but it is a barrel aged imperial. So there's a lot going on here. Yeah, I had so much, I was been focusing on my new whiskeys and stuff I brought home. I kind of forgot about this one. So, I need to drink some of this. It's been a while since I had it. And oh man, this is why I love this whiskey. It is so bold, rich, and complex. I love that American single malt category. Mostly because it is so different than any other. There are some exceptions, but most Scotch single malts, Irish single malts, even Japanese single malts will use used bourbon barrels. Whereas many, this one included, American single malt category is using new charred oak. So it's aged in much the same way that you would age a bourbon, but what we're aging here is malted barley. And that malted barley just soaks up all that goodness. That's why you got this big, rich, deep color here. But it affects the barley a little bit different than it does say, a bourbon mash, which is very interesting. Now, there are a few American single malts that are aged more like a Scotch or an Irish, where they're using used bourbon. Um, but this one obviously does not. And that's what makes this category so interesting. At 12%. Yeah, this one's at 11. But yeah, great for this time of year. And I'll be honest with you, this is going to be a one and done for me. This is a big 11% beer. I gave myself a nice 3 ounce pour of a 96 proof single malt whiskey. So yeah, we're going to be done after this one. But since I was getting off work a little bit late, wanted to just have one good pour, one good beer, one good pour of whiskey, and just relax. Now, I don't add whiskey or beer to a. Don't you add whiskey or bourbon to a stout? I do not. I will have it side by side, but I won't add it to it. But I like to do side by sides. Yeah, I like to have my nice beer and then my whiskey off to the side. Again, so the notes they were talking about: caramel, orange peel, and baking spice. I'm going to say yes to all of that, but I want to add a few things. I feel like I'm getting some nice malted dark chocolate notes to go along with it. As far as caramel, feels like more of a very dark, almost burnt sugar caramel. Baking spice, I'm going to say cinnamon, allspice, a little clove, and some ginger in there as well. You get a little ginger note right at the end. Nice vanilla running all the way through here. It's absolutely gorgeous. You set that down for a second while I focus on this beer a minute. Oh man. The more I let this warm up, the more aromatic it becomes. This is a beer you really want, and I don't like to use that I don't like to say room temp, because it's kind of a misnomer. What you're looking for is cellar temp, which is about 55 to 65. But I typically like about 55 to 60, in all honesty. Yeah, and as it warms, those flavors really meld together better as well. When it's cold, those notes are going to be a little sharper. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And sometimes it's nice to start out a little colder just so you feel it that way and see how it changes as it warms up. But yeah, I feel like the more I let this warm, the more I really get those dark chocolate notes. The more those dark chocolate notes are defined. I'm going to say it feels like about an 80% dark. I feel like I'm getting some toffee notes in there. Again, more of a very dark toffee. And although they are similar, toffee is a different flavor than caramel. Yeah, well, I do like big, not necessarily holiday beers, but yeah, any imperial styles, barley wines, anything chucked in a barrel, I dig. I'm not a big fan of pumpkin spice beers, but I have a lot of friends that are. I feel like the category's been played out. Uh, it's been done, and there's a handful of breweries that do it very well and should keep doing it. But I don't know that anybody else needs to jump in that category. Schlafly has the classic. Hey, Vanessa, how are you? I'm going to post your comment there. Schlafly has the classic. And I think they should keep doing that because they were one of the very first. I believe Buffalo Bills was the first, but Schlafly was right at there. Originally, I don't know if it's changed, and I haven't even looked this year, to be honest with you. It was about 8%. But I'm not a huge fan of the category, to be honest. Uh, I feel like there's a handful of really, really good ones, and everybody else is just, there. They're just dipping their toe in the market. And I'm one of those folks that are of the belief if you're not going to be on the cutting edge, why do it, right? I mean, if you're not going to make a statement with a holiday beer, you shouldn't do it at all. And there are so many there just doing, okay, let's do a pumpkin beer because everybody else is. So they're doing this average milk toast. Okay, it's decent. It's 5 and whatever percent. It's okay. And that's my issue is breweries that want to do just okay. Gingerbread and peppermint are the flavors for December and in a beer. Yeah, I suppose you could say that. I mean, there's a lot of flavors. I am designing a cocktail around that. I don't know. Hardywood had a great gingerbread beer a while back. I don't know if they're still making it. A friend sent me one several years ago. And I'm trying to figure out a cocktail because I've got some ginger. I'm trying to get the spice right. I like to do a gingerbread cocktail, but I haven't quite got that right blend with the whiskey, making that simple to really go with it. I'm working on that one, but I've got an idea for a peppermint cocktail. That's rather simple. But as far as peppermint beer, I don't know, man. Then again, I'm kind of a purist, right? I'm not a big fan of flavored beer. Now, I'm not talking about adding a couple things to an imperial stout, or adding chocolate, raisin, or whatever you want to add to it. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is making your beer taste like something else. Using an ingredient to enhance your beer is one thing. A beer that's supposed to taste like something well, that's something else for me. because I am a bit of a purist. I want my beer to taste like beer. If you want to add something, a little flavors here and there, as long as I can still taste that original beer, I'm okay with that. But if you're trying to drown out that original beer, it makes me wonder what flaws you're hiding from me. Let me pour the rest of this beer in here. I'll let that warm a second. Got some gnats in here driving me crazy. Apparently they like alcohol because I never see them until I pop something, and then there they are, those little bastards. Mm. So anyway, back to Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're gonna do a turkey. Have a night. We're just doing a small turkey, just the wife and I. So it's about an 8 pounder ish. I'm gonna do some stuffing or dressing. Not gonna put it in the bird, so I guess technically it's dressing, but I always prefer to call it stuffing because I like it. I haven't decided if we're gonna do potatoes this year. Typically, you always do mashed potatoes, but I really, want the stuffing, and I don't know that I need all those extra carbs. So we're gonna play that one by ear. But I do have an acorn squash I'm gonna cook to do an orange veg. I've got a nice sweet potato, but I think I'm gonna save it for another day. But we'll start with the squash. So the only thing for sure I know I'm gonna do right now is that turkey, some dressing, and the acorn squash. My wife handles the sides, or the cold sides. She handles the salad, so I'm not sure what she plans on doing there. I let her run that end of it. I do the hot stuff. She does the cold stuff for dinner, but the desserts are all her. I don't bake well. She handles all that in. So exactly what we're gonna have, I don't know. We've had to kind of learn over the years. It's just the two of us, and it's been that way for a while. And if we cook a whole bunch of things on Thanksgiving, well, then there's things that are just going to end up getting tossed at some point. So we try to do just a little bit that I can add. Like, for instance, if I don't do potatoes on Thursday, I can add potatoes Friday and freshen up the leftovers, you see. But she always makes a cranberry salad, and I'm a little odd. I like the canned jelly. It's one of those poor folk things I just can't get over. Well, my wife makes the best pie crust known to man, so the pies are always incredible. Oh man, this whiskey is just insane. Let's set that down and work on this beer again for a minute. Now I got it all in there. I like this glass. It's like a stemless tulip. I don't know. but it works for this style. Every time I pop a matter for Ilias, I always want to use this glass. But yeah, when I went to the cellar sale in 22, I was bummed that they didn't give you the glass because that was part of the thing. You're spending a shitload of money. They give you glass, and they were right there to give you a pour of something. And then the next year they didn't do it. And it seemed to be rather, I don't know what the right word is. It was just, they didn't seem it was almost like a chore to deal with the public that day. I don't know. So I got frustrated, and I'm not going back next year. But I'm not even sure if they did it because I don't remember it being advertised. But they've had an ownership change since then, so I'm not sure what's going on. I just don't get out as much as I used to. So, I mean, there was a time I would visit well, what craft breweries we had rather frequently, but we only had a couple, or we had three, we had four, but now we've got 11. So hell, I can't visit that many. And now that I'm working for a craft brewery, hell, usually on my days off, I don't want to go anywhere anymore. So I try to maintain a mug at Springfield Brewing Company, mostly because I've had it there for so long. I hate to let it go now, even though I don't get there all that often either. There's one other place in town I'd like to pick up a mug this year, only because I've been meeting some friends there lately, once or twice a month. So I don't want to mention the name at the moment, just in case it doesn't pan out for me. The problem is that the mugs go on sale Friday, and I work Friday. So I mean, I could try to get there early and line up, but I don't know, man. I just hate to stand in line for anything. I really have an issue with that. I gotta wait. I have mellowed out some in my old age, but the truth is, I don't wait well. I don't wait well, man. And part of the problem is, like I said, I have to work. So I mean, if I didn't have to work, I wouldn't mind standing in line to get the mug because then I can relax and have a couple beers. But now I've got to get up early to go somewhere, stand in line, get a mug, not drink anything because now I've got to hurry to my place of business, right? Because I've got to go to work now. Uh, so that's that's my issue. But I really want one at this particular place just because one of the beer tenders is a good friend, and I usually meet a couple friends there once or twice a month, and it's a nice place to hang out, especially in the spring and summer when the weather's nice, or early fall even. They've just got that great space, man. It's an old firehouse, and it's just incredible. But I also know the odds of me getting one are slim to none, so that's why I'm not saying the name of the place for getting too excited about it. But I'm trying to figure out how I can get one. I was trying to talk him in, just let me pay for the damn thing. I'm willing to give you the money right now and not have to stay in line. I just want a mug. I will give you guaranteed cash right now if you just let me have one, man. But some folks are just sticklers for the rules. Anyway, I digress. As we get near the end here, yeah, you can see I'm starting to get a little happy. Okay, you're getting happy, Tom. Yeah. So let me show you this whiskey bottle one more time as I get ready to finish this whiskey off. Union Horse Distilling, Rivalist American Single Malt Whiskey. I am a fan of this distillery. I really am. They're doing some great stuff. And they shit a brick. Moved my hand wrong there. Anyway, no harm, no foul, nothing got spilled. You anyway, regardless of what you heard, Union Horse Distilling American Single Malt Whiskey. I really like this distillery. They're doing some amazing stuff. Not just this whiskey, but they got a lot of products I really like. Rye is insane. It's probably one of my very favorites, if not my favorite. Their bourbon is done well, but anything I could buy from them that's cask, oh my lord, it's amazing. Uh, anyway, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer. Again, caramel, orange peel, and baking spice is what they tell you, but I'm telling you, you're going to pull some chocolate out of here. I feel it as a dark malted chocolate, but I'm telling you, you're going to feel it. They don't mention vanilla, but that's kind of a gimme. You're always going to feel some vanilla. Baking spice, yeah, some cinnamon, some allspice. Honestly, I'm feeling more allspice than cinnamon, but I always feel obliged to say cinnamon because that's the typical note you get in there. Um, you might feel some nutmeg, you might feel some clove. It really just depends on how you feel those so-called baking spices. But for me, I'm also picking up some ginger in there. So I'm talking the whiskey whisper, whiskey evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and as for this beer, oh my lord, it is just amazing. This 2020 vintage is just insanely good. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and all around good guys, Lunch. Thanks for tuning in, guys.